Nowadays, if it fits your macros style dieting has become very popular in the fitness industry, and clean eating has kind of been in the back burner for a while. But which is actually better, eating clean or just doing if it fits your macros? People say that the problem with clean eating is they just can't stick to it. Well, if it fits your macros allows for more freedom, it's both a good and a bad thing. Because honestly, if it fits your macros will look different for everybody. For me personally, I would say I kind of do a mixture of both, but we'll touch on that later. But for some other people, what it will look like is, for an example, I used to know a guy who would do like if it fits your macros, and he would drink like a big protein shake, eat chicken breast by itself, like alone, not even with rice or something, and then just eat Snickers for the rest of the day. So it can be both very balanced, and it can also be a chaotic hell. Now, the other problem with if it fits your macros is that micronutrients and sugar and all of that stuff that's really not inside of just protein, fat and carbs still matter. You can hit the right amount of macros while eating complete garbage or while eating completely healthy stuff. And you can also not at all hit your macros with just eating healthy stuff. And yes, while for bodybuilding's sake it's mostly about the macros, I still wouldn't recommend you to just eat shit and bulk up on that. If you don't eat enough micronutrients, you don't eat any fruits, any vegetables, you only eat like Snickers and chicken breast and all that, it's going to backfire and you're going to feel it. You're gonna feel like shit. And also, if you're eating like, I don't know, 200-300 grams of sugar a day, guess what? You might become a big guy, a big diabetic guy. Now also, what I can tell by personal experience is when I used to live with my parents, I would try to eat mostly healthily, but you know, like I would eat a chocolate here and there if I had to like get in my macros and shit. And I would drink like a bunch of milk because it was cheap and all that. And I was really bloated very often. Also, when I would be bulking, my face would get like really bloated, or you know, like watery. And also, I always had like really shitty acne, usually when I was bulking, mostly because I would eat like a lot of fat, which I have reduced now, and that's probably why I don't really have it as much, but also probably because I often ate shit. So when you eat whatever you want, it's stuff like this that you cannot really control. And I can say that now my eating habits are pretty much like mostly clean. The dirtiest stuff I will eat on like a daily basis is jam. But sometimes here and there, like once or twice a week, I will eat some shit like chips or some sweet stuff or whatever. But overall, it's mostly clean eating. And so that's what I recommend. Clean eating with some room for if it fits your macros. Because honestly, allowing for complete freedom is not really the best thing, but also not getting any freedom is also shitty. So I would say the best approach would be to choose a couple of clean foods that you know that work well for you, and just always eat those like 90-95% of the time, and then you can eat other stuff that maybe doesn't work as well for you, or that's like more sweet, sugary or whatever, like the rest like 5 or 10% of the time. Now also, a problem with if it fits your macros is also a lot of companies and people try to like kind of get money off of it, and they make like a protein spread, which is like the same shit as Nutella but with like more protein, or anything completely garbage like that, but it's got like a bit more protein. And so you buy it, and guess what? You're still eating shit. Yes, you're getting better macronutrients, and also if you go to like Burger King or something, you realize that I guess the macros aren't that bad. Like, you're still getting protein, but it's still bad for you. So what I'm personally doing myself, and what I also suggest to you, is to mostly try to eat single ingredient meals. Now that doesn't mean the meal has to be like meat only. I mean single ingredient, as you don't buy like frozen prepared meat and then frozen prepared like potatoes and all that shit. Instead, you buy just meat, rice, vegetables, and that's it. That's your meal. Now obviously that doesn't have to be your meal. You can do like spaghetti with like tomato sauce. I guess that's not single ingredient, but like the one that I can buy here has like 90-something% tomato and then salt. But yeah, the point is, try to go for the least processed foods possible. Another very good example for that is how many people buy like porridge packets, you know, that is just like a packet of fucking poison, but it's very healthy. It's like an oatmeal and it's processed shit. While you can do the same thing with single ingredient stuff: milk, water, oats, fruit. Here you go. You saved probably at least like a year of your life, and you also saved a bunch of money, because those things are expensive, and oats and milk, they're not. And so you see how easy it is to make a processed meal into a not processed one. So now I challenge you, from today, or if you're watching this at night, from tomorrow, you will have to change one meal from processed to less processed, or completely just single ingredient stuff every single day. One meal every day. It's not that big of a deal, and it will probably also cost you less money. And more importantly, it will cost you less in terms of health. Change the whatever shady spaghetti powder to just tomato sauce and meat, and I don't think you need anything else for spaghetti. Change your cereal to some like healthy granola, or just oats and fruit or some shit like that. And so you should eat meals like that aren't processed most of the time. Then if you want to, you can eat a bit of stuff that's not as clean, like once or twice a week here and there. Maybe one week you won't eat any of that shit, maybe another week you will eat it like 3 times. But the point is, just don't go overboard with it and don't let it take over your entire diet. Also, usually I already have meals prepared for me. Like, I always have my breakfast prepared, I always eat some sort of sandwich at work, I always have like dinner prepared. So really, if you're prepared and you're meal prepping, you won't need to eat shit. And even if you will be given the opportunity, you're going to be like, I already have food with me or at home, so it's like I don't want to throw that out because it's going to get bad in like a day or 2. So then you're also not going to be as tempted to eat bad food. So don't listen to the people who say nothing matters. It does matter. What you eat matters. You need to eat healthy. You need to get in your micronutrients. You shouldn't get in like a bunch of sugar. But at the same time, obviously, you need to somehow stick to your diet. And if you never enjoy it, you're not going to stick to it. And you need to have some ballroom when you go out with friends and all that. So that's why this is the best approach in my opinion. Also, if you're having problems with staying consistent in the gym, you can click here to watch my last video where I tell you how to never skip a session again. Or at least very rarely.